It began with a sound. Deep beneath Greenland's melting ice, a drilling team expected nothing but rock and frozen silence. Instead, they struck a cavern filled with liquid that glowed faintly in the dark. It was heavy, thicker than water, and when they lifted it to the surface, the vial pulsed. Slow, steady, like a heartbeat. The crew didn't understand what they had found. But when one of them, almost as a joke, set fire to a drop, the flame burned with impossible intensity. No smoke, no ash, just pure, endless energy. That single drop powered their base for hours. The scientists called in to examine it gave the substance a name: Nixil, a new word for a new kind of fire. News spread quickly. Within months, tankers carried Nixil across the oceans. Refineries were rebuilt. Nations signed treaties overnight. Politicians stood before cameras declaring the end of the energy crisis. Newspapers called it humanity's greatest discovery. For once, the world seemed united, not in fear but in wonder. And life changed almost instantly. Cities that once groaned under failing power grids lit up like constellations. In New York, entire subway lines reopened, never stalling or dimming. In Delhi, families slept cool through the summer heat, fans humming without interruption. In Lagos, neighborhoods that had lived in darkness for generations now glowed with streetlights that never went out. A father in Manila could keep the air conditioner on for his children without counting the cost. A farmer in Kenya could irrigate his land all night without fear of empty tanks. A mother in São Paulo cooked every evening without smoke, without gas. For the first time in history, electricity felt like air, something infinite, something free. Humanity had entered the Nixil age, but miracles always come with shadows. The first signs were small, almost laughable. A maintenance worker in Munich noticed that the Nixil pipes in his plant vibrated softly, even when the flow was cut off. Engineers shrugged. Pressure leaks, they said. A pilot in São Paulo reported his Nixil-powered jet engine kept running for a full minute after shutdown. Residual energy, the manuals claimed. In Lagos, workers at a pumping station heard a low hum at dawn and dusk, too deep to be mechanical. They laughed about ghosts in the pipes. Then came the dreams. In Shanghai, entire families began to describe the same vision. Standing beneath an endless black ocean, a weight pressing down on their chests, a presence too large to see. In Mexico City, refinery workers woke drenched in sweat, muttering about glowing veins beneath the earth. In London, subway engineers compared notes and realized they were all dreaming of tunnels flooding with black liquid. Doctors called it stress. Psychologists called it suggestion. But the dreams spread fastest in places where Nixil burned brightest. Scientists began to dig deeper. Under microscopes, Nixil didn't behave like fuel. It didn't scatter randomly or break apart like oil. It formed threads, coils, repeating shapes, like roots reaching out in soil. When exposed to sound, it shifted. When vibrated, it pulsed. Some swore it even moved toward their instruments, as if aware. A quiet fear began to grow in laboratories. This wasn't fuel, it was something alive. The findings leaked in whispers. A team in Kyoto released footage showing Nixil clustering when exposed to certain tones. Another in Canada documented its ability to align across glass barriers, as though communicating with itself. The word alive was never used, but everyone who saw the images felt the same chill. It should have been a moment of reckoning. Instead, it was smothered. Governments denied the claims. Corporations silenced the scientists. Stock markets stabilized. The lights stayed on and people went back to their lives. Because deep down, everyone understood. Turning off Nixil now would mean turning off the world. But the anomalies grew harder to ignore. Engines powered by Nixil sometimes kept running on their own. Drones hovered longer than programmed, drifting slowly as if curious. Streetlights flickered in repeating patterns, like a coded message no one could translate. And always there was the hum. In every city, at dawn and dusk, the pipes and wires carried the same low vibration, like the breathing of something vast. Then came the first quiet. One November morning, without warning, Nixil stopped flowing in 3 cities at once. Lights died, hospitals fell into chaos, subways froze between stations. Planes circled in panic. For 46 minutes, millions stared into a future without power. Darkness. silence, fear. And then just as suddenly, the hum returned. Lights snapped back on, engines roared. Nixle flowed again as though nothing had happened. Governments blamed sabotage. Engineers said software errors. But those who lived through the silence whispered another word: choice. Still, humanity did not stop. By then, we couldn't. Nixle powered everything: homes, factories, farms, hospitals, planes, trains, cities. Shutting it down would mean collapsing civilization overnight. So we ignored the hum. We ignored the drones that hovered off course, the engines that refused to sleep, the dreams that returned night after night. Denial became survival, but some couldn't deny. In underground labs, scientists ran one last test. They sealed Nixle in soundproof chambers, stripped of vibration, isolated from machines. Then they played a single sound through speakers, a human heartbeat. The liquid responded. Threads of Nixle reached forward, pulsing in time. Filaments gathered into shapes, moving as though drawn to the rhythm. When the heartbeat stopped, the liquid dispersed. When it began again, the Nixle reformed. Closer, stronger, hungrier. The footage spread before it could be buried. For a moment, humanity stared into the truth. Nixle was not fuel. It was not a miracle. It was something alive, something that listened, something that answered. And yet, even then, we did not stop. A small movement broke away. They called themselves the Grounded. They left Nixle-powered cities for valleys and mountains, where old windmills creaked and solar panels flickered. They accepted less comfort, less speed, less light. They claimed their minds were clearer, their sleep deeper. But even there, the dreams followed. Meanwhile, the rest of the world celebrated itself. Skyscrapers glowed brighter than ever. Planes circled the globe without pause. Deserts bloomed with farms lit day and night. Humanity called itself unstoppable. But the hum never left. The dreams never left. The memory of the first quiet lingered like a wound, and no one truly knows what Nixle is or what it wants. Some believe it is a resource, others a parasite, a partner, or something far older, something that waited beneath the ice, patient and listening until we were ready to bring it out. And so we are left with one question: did humanity discover Nixle to save itself from scarcity? Or did Nixle discover humanity as the perfect host? This was Dreams of the Machine. If you enjoyed this story and want to help me create more, you can support the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Every little bit keeps Dreams of the Machine alive and growing. Link is in the description. Thank you for being part of this journey.